All right, sorry, here. Oh, look at that, amazing. We got all the technology here, very good. Good morning, everyone. I have 8:30 on my watch. I always say a Mickey Mouse watch, but I don't have one of those. So I rely on my, he does. He actually has a Mickey Mouse watch. 8:30, all right. We'll call the meeting to order, 8:30. First order of business, we have two sets of minutes to approve. They're in your packet there. We had an informational meeting last month along with our regular minutes, regular meeting minutes. So take a look at the informational meeting minutes. They're very, very brief, as I recall. So if you've got any comments on that, anybody? Anybody on those? We get a motion to approve the informational meeting minutes.
So moved.
Good, a second?
Support.
All right, great. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. How about the regular minutes? A little more expansive in terms of detail, expertly prepared there by Kelly. Anything, take a quick scan through there. Anything there we need to talk about?
Do we have a update on wayfinding?
I will do that in.
Today.
Is that, okay,
Yep.
all right,
Yeah, it'll
I saw that.
come in the
Yeah.
monthly report stuff.
oh, and the reports, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Robert's first meeting.
Any comments on the minutes?
I heard that.
Regular meeting minutes?
No.
My only comment is that the
Sorry.
state seems to call Tiscornia a beach, and we're calling it a park.
Yeah.
So why does the state call it a beach and we call it a park? How come we don't both call it the same thing?
Where do you see the state calling it that?
And all the brown signs that the state puts up along the highway.
Is there some,
I think we looked at this last week in Google. It's, I remember. I
Yeah,
Googled
if it was a
what
beach, it had to have a lifeguard.
okay.
Oh, is that,
Rationale that we talked about last month.
And
Yeah.
As long as it's not us calling it a beach, maybe that's the
and
liability.
that's not my question. My question is the state says it's a beach.
All right.
And I don't think we're gonna have any luck making them change their signs.
Well,
All right. Well, we can,
Because the state calls
we'll
it a
take
beach
that
on
up.
their
We'll
signs.
take that up separately. Any other comments on the minutes? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Second?
second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, minutes approved. Let's quickly go through the financial reports. We have our usual summary on good old packet page 8. Hard to believe, but we have, am I right here? We got 2 months to go in our fiscal year. So we are at the home stretch of putting another fiscal year to bed. I think there's nothing unusual happening in the accounts here. It's pretty straightforward. The only big things we have yet to do is on the capital projects. Of course, the wayfinding expenses are yet to come. So other than that, I think we're pretty straightforward. We ought to end up with a fairly hefty excess revenue over expenses by the end of the year, right?
there'll be some left over after wayfinding. I mean, we did.
Right.
Almost, I think it was $60,000 deposit to get, using this, sorry. We did the $60,000 deposit, 60 plus,
I don't think it's on.
for the sign. Oh,
Go ahead and use-
the button by.
Try that again. Can you hear me?
Oh.
Now I'm loud. We did the deposit to get the materials ordered for the wayfinding signs, so that did come out. So that was pretty much the only one that came through.
Okay.
I think there was a smaller one, I think from Walker, for some of the work that they did, but other than that, so
So-
we're still in good shape.
But we have adequate resources
Yes.
to take care of
Yep,
all that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Any other comments, questions on the financials? Can we get a motion to approve those?
So moved.
All right. Second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on the financials? All in favor of the financial reports, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. All right, motion passed. All right, so we're going to adjust our order of business here a little bit. Let's drop down to new business. I think let's talk about the Lake Street banners. I think we have a guest here that might want to make some comments about that. Yeah.
I can kick it off, just to get some grading. So,
What page are we on?
Yeah, what page on?
Good
that?
morning.
33.
don't know.
3-3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're there.
Sorry to bounce
So
around on you there. Go ahead, Em.
my understanding, and Carl can jump in and correct me if I've got it wrong, is that a few years ago, Carl came to the city commission. These are minutes from 2019, so 6 years ago. Came to the city commission, asked to be able to put up banners along Lake Boulevard that were for veterans. And so Carl's been doing that for years, which is a lovely thing that I was unaware of. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about sort of separately is maybe doing some banners on Lake Boulevard that tie into some of the messaging Paul has put together, St. Joe Today has put together for the farmer's market. The Be a Good Neighbor. Don't know, Paul, if you have that, I can pull it up if it's helpful. As I understand it, Carl this year ran out of veterans to highlight, and so purchased some additional banners that are here in the packet on page 34. And so we're just trying to figure out what we want to move forward with and wanted to bring this to the DDA to weigh in on. That's my whole preamble.
Thank you. You are correct that over the last 6 years, we've done over 200 and some banners honoring veterans, police officers, and firemen. And now we don't have any more applications for that request. So we came up as a group with different logos to put on these banners this year. And we were told that we should come to you now instead of the city. So that's.
And the reason, Carl, you're getting away from the kind of veterans and first responders and all that is,
No one's applying to requesting a picture to put up in honor
right.
of a veteran.
so
But
there's an application process for that.
That's correct. We have to get a picture from, get
gotcha.
approval to put their picture up on the
Sure,
banner
sure.
and go from there.
And your organization is what that does this?
Michiana Land Services.
Okay.
We're in the 505 building. I'm part owner of the 505 building.
Understood.
And we've done it for that. We do it at no cost to the
Sure,
veterans.
sure.
And where were the banners placed in the past?
On
On
the-
Lake?
on the
Lake?
bluff.
Lake
Okay,
Boulevard.
that's what I thought. I was
There's
just-
14 poles there, and then we rotate them every couple months in the past and go from there. And then these are the new banners that we'd like to put up along the side
Are you,
at no cost to the city.
Sure.
So you
understood.
would like all 8 of these, or you'd like to?
There's
select-
duplicates of them.
Okay.
Two, they have the number 2 underneath it. See the numbers?
Times two,
Planning
times.
and
Yeah.
page.
I don't know what the feeling is this. I mean, I personally, the veterans, first responder things, I'm all on board on that. I have to admit, personally, I'm not a big saying person. I don't know how to articulate that much beyond that. Again, personal opinion here, so bear with me on this. Telling people they have to be kind and neighbors and all this, I don't know. It doesn't, I don't, personally, I don't need that. I don't need that to do this, right? So I don't know. That's my own opinion.
Sure is.
So I'm not, listen, we're grateful for your organization providing this material. I mean, I'm grateful beyond all get out, but I don't know this, again, but I don't know, we'll have to get the feeling of the rest of the board, but this doesn't do anything for me personally.
Is there a reason that you would not consider, or maybe you have considered it and there's been good reason why you didn't, why you wouldn't just start repeating some of the first responders, veterans? I understand that no one's applied.
Right. Because after the veterans banners were up, the veterans came and received their banners
Okay.
and took them home.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
Put it up from there.
right. But you'd have to purchase these. Correct.
We have purchased.
No, I understand, but I mean, I guess so I'm wondering is, would you consider purchasing duplicates of,
No,
okay,
because then we'd have to get the permit again from
Okay.
each party and go from there.
These have already been purchased.
That is correct.
Oh.
We
Oh.
weren't informed of this until just recently.
Oh,
And yes, in reference to your comments,
yeah,
our group looked through what was going on in downtown.
sure.
And we thought we need to send a message that you're welcome here. We got to change the attitude.
Sure.
That's why we did this.
Understood.
and by the way, I applaud your efforts. I think for all of us, this was, you say new to you, new to us too, I think, so.
I'd have to agree with your sentiment that we do need some more positivity downtown in that area, especially with like some of the farmers markets. I'm kind of concerned with like the markets and everything. From your point of view, Paul, how would you feel like these messages fit in with the farmers markets and all that?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, I think when it comes to the city's brand, I think,
Those things.
I'm not sure kindness and being a good neighbor is.
Yeah.
To Tom's point,
Sure.
right, I think we're putting out
The
those
rest of
signs at the farmer's market specifically to address, some of the. Yeah, some of the not approved demonstrations and vending that has been going on there, that we want to try to get ahead of. I mean, there's certainly nothing wrong with reminding people to be kind. There are certainly people who need to be reminded of that, but I think this might be an opportunity to really look at what does the city want its brand to be, right? Are we a special place by the lake? Are we, to 2009's point, the most romantic city on the lake shore? What is the brand that,
Right.
that St. Joe is and wants to become or is becoming, right? Is it belonging? Is it neighboring? Is it placemaking, something like that? So I don't know. I think, I mean, certainly our messaging fits right in line with this, right? The message that we're putting out. So if we were gonna go along, the words we have are not very different. The design is different.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I mean-
noticed that at the farmer's market this week and I saw similar signs, on A-frame?
We have like yard signs, like, I don't know what we call them, just the ones you put in the
Yeah.
ground. and then we've
Like a
got
real
A-frame.
estate sign, kind of.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
estate signs, and then we've got A-frame signs that are offering people an opportunity to engage with some kind of feedback,
Mhm.
depending on whatever they want. We've gotten comments across the spectrum, as you might imagine.
Right.
Andrew, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just kind of a yes and. Last year when the city approved was going through the process of doing the economic development strategy, one of the things that consultant had suggested, and fits into the redevelopment learning communities thing, is doing some branding work, and there was not budget for it at that time, so I think that's something to consider. I mean, when you're laying these things out, having kind of uniform look, uniform messaging, is a great opportunity to be thinking about as you're considering what you want to communicate, how you want it to look, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, because I love the idea. When we were looking at these, I thought we were being asked, like, are there ones that you like more than, like, I didn't realize they had already been purchased and you guys have them and stuff, because just personally as a visual person and when you're marketing your brand, I think a more cohesive look is so, I mean, going forward, I would, as a DDA, I would want more input in what the visual style of them look like.
I have a point of order, I think. So correct me if I'm wrong, the Lake Bluff Park, in other words, west of Lake Boulevard, is not in the DDA. Is that accurate?
The park is a park, so it is part of the.
So where does the DDA boundary to
Yeah,
the
that's a good
west
question.
start?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I think that the Parks Board would have authority over the park.
Okay.
I think that,
You're talking about putting them on the streetlights though, which.
Yeah,
right,
but I'm
that's
saying
right,
if it's
yeah.
on the, if it ends at Lake Boulevard and if it's on the west side of the street, does that even fall within the DDA's purview?
Streetlights.
does, I can double check and confirm, and I think I was trying to pull it up as well. I think the streetlights are probably part of the DDA.
Okay, I thought that
Yeah.
that
We need
the
to know.
park was not a
Mhm.
part of the DDA.
I thought that too,
Yeah.
because we had talked about
I just didn't
when
want
we
us
were
to vote on
studying
something that didn't,
that the
we just
Parks
don't have
Board should be
authority
doing.
over, but anyway, sorry, Deb, I cut you
Yeah,
off.
no, I was done.
Okay.
I was just,
The alternative to not having these signs would just be empty, right? We would just have no flags, no
Well,
signs.
What I was saying is not realizing that this is something that Carl was working on. I was thinking about what we could do there
Mhm.
as well, thinking about the messaging that Paul already gets out, the signs you were talking about, could we incorporate that? But yes, I mean, we don't have like a design to hand.
These are ready to go now.
These are ready to go now. One of the things that I was thinking about, I think, I don't remember who said it, one of the things that jumps out at me is how different each of these are.
Mhm.
And I do think having a more cohesive look would be helpful. One of the things I've been
With the city
thinking
logo.
is there a way to design
Just at
something
the
that
beginning.
has our logo on it with like the greens or the blues or something, so we could sort of use some of these this year with some banners that are sort of tie it all together. And then maybe next year, you know, if we do green this year, next year it's blue or something like that to sort of pull it in together with the branding.
yeah, I mean, I would like a more aligned with we are just about to install new wayfinding sign all over the city. I would
Right.
like it to visually
Look like
coordinate
they
with
belong.
that.
Yeah.
I don't want it to duplicate that because it's a different thing, but
So,
we spent a lot of
just a
money.
comment on branding. Does the city currently have a brand kit, like with your fonts, your colors,
yeah,
all of that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I do agree I like your messaging of positivity. I agree, we need more of that. But, I think that, and I'm sorry that these were already purchased, but maybe we can incorporate them just for this year. But I think banners need to have that, the correct color, the correct font, all that stuff, the logo for the city. I really liked the veteran banners and, this is just something I've often thought about. If you've run out of veterans, you know, I'm all about high school athletics, high school band members, high school robotics kids, high school. We have so many awesome kids that we could highlight, and that to me gives a really nice hometown feel. Our neighbors to the south do that
I was
very
gonna say
well.
Stevensville, because I
Right.
love it, and
Yeah,
they're
it's,
very nice.
and you know, the parents, I think the parents even buy them. But anyway, I wondered if your group had explored that, Carl.
We did.
Okay,
You have two different schools here also.
okay,
So you'd have to
Yeah.
incorporate both.
sure, yeah, sure.
And that's where we're going to. We even thought about having a contest between the schools for to come up with their different designs and stuff. like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I mean, these are all
There
good
was some-
comments. I think the consistency issue and branding is a major consideration. So I guess unfortunately or unfortunate a little bit, we're at a point where we have to make some type of decision here. And Carl, I feel a little badly that you've already expended these funds to get these banners. So we need to, I guess we need to think about that question, right?
Well, I
mean,
wanted to be fair. How many years have you been doing this for?
6 years.
6 years. And if we didn't catch it, he already purchased it. He's gonna go, I hate to just say, no, we're not gonna do
No, right,
anything with
that's right,
this
that's right.
project. I think there's.
Is
room to
there,
be
is there
incorporating it.
somewhere else we could use this maybe? Is there another venue or opportunity? I'm thinking out loud here a little bit.
We're not interested in that.
I see.
And that we also went through, they're on electrical light poles. We went through AEP and got their approval also to put
Sure.
on. It's not the
those
city.
lights.
poles.
the-
It's a-
Would you be interested in maybe future years, if we did use these this year and future years, working with this group to come up with something that did have that brand in mind?
I would, and I would help donate towards
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's kind of maybe this year we use these, or already purchased, we have
Maybe it
this
says
agreement
that-
in place and
Yeah,
then
it's kind of an
moving
interim
forward.
approach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with the mayor that this is lack of coordination, which seems to occur infrequently here. But again, someone goes ahead thinking that there's a commitment to something and they've already put their foot forward. And this certainly falls under something is better than nothing. So rather than having nothing this year, why should we not let them go ahead and do it? But I think that the other comments that we're all making is that the opportunity to brand the community, to promote the community, to do the placemaking and turn the thought process around, all of those things are helpful and all those things can be done on the banners. But giving them the opportunity to use the assets that they've already purchased in our behalf makes sense as long as it's not a multi-year or forever type of commitment. But again, something is better than nothing. So I certainly would support them doing it this year because it'll take us a while to come to the discussion in terms of what we want to do with that. And I think, marketing and sales and St. Joe Today's help. I think all those things are moving in the right direction.
What would be the cycle here? I mean, what would we do? We put them up and then we rotate them, or how do we manage that? And what's the timing? Just all
I think-
summer or?
Because of the winds, you can't put them up before April.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I appreciate that.
What type of a lead time do you need with the production of these?
He's got
Done.
them. No, he's
No, I mean, just for future.
Oh,
If you're gonna go through the same company, we go through about 3 months.
Oh,
Okay,
not long,
all right.
Not long.
So if we were to say, we can go ahead and support this year, we would need to, maybe December, January, start getting together and putting together some branding and messaging for the following season.
I mean, that's a whole bigger discussion. I think,
Sure,
frankly. I
yeah.
mean, the banners are probably, like
Exactly, yeah,
small piece
sure,
of
sure.
a bigger
But
puzzle.
that way we could at least have a time to revisit it.
So, I mean, what's a pleasure? I mean, so, Chris, I hear your comments, Robert, everybody. I mean, I think, ideal if we had our druthers, we might approach this a little bit differently, but we are where we are. We have what we have. And it seems to be that people are suggesting, maybe we move forward that for this year and then try and manage this better going forward, I guess is the way I'm thinking about it. Go ahead, Phil.
So there's one banner I personally object to because it's too aligned with the anti-abortion
Yeah,
protesters,
right,
the life
right.
is precious. I would vote for it if that one.
Yeah,
was
that one
removed
caught,
out.
that one caught
I don't
my
want
eye
it up.
too, because I'm
I'm-
not sure we want to take a position on.
I concur with.
Yeah.
her
Because it is, we are
comment.
taking a
that's right,
position then
that's
as
right.
a city.
I think the other ones are
They're all
what,
innocuous enough.
generic,
Yeah.
I guess I'd say.
But that
So
one.
I-
Not saying
would
that
agree with
banner
that.
is meant to mean that exact thing, but
It
I
is
can see
absolutely.
how it could be
Right.
misconstrued to.
So I think where we're arriving is that we're in favor of utilizing these this year with the exception of the Life is Precious one. Is that
Yes.
what I'm hearing?
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Can we maybe get a motion to that effect?
I would like to move that we do move forward with these banners with that one exception. And also with the mindset that we would
Be more proactive on this.
work together for future years.
I get a,
Did you spell out not number?
Yeah, Life is
Yeah,
Precious
so
would be the one
So
exception.
we would approve 7 of these and leave that one aside for now. Can I get a second on that? That's
Support.
Support.
Can I
Okay.
ask a real quick question?
Please.
I just would love to hear a response from our guest here. How do you feel about this kind of halfway meeting point?
Something's better than nothing.
Understood. But I hope you can see our thought on that. I mean,
I agree, but I wish you
Yeah.
guys would have came to me 6 months before these.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, well,
Not cheap.
No, I appreciate that. Certainly there's the process didn't happen the way we would have.
What
liked
was
it,
the
so.
previous, because I
Yeah.
was unaware
Yeah.
that this was ever anything on our
Perfect.
radar. So I'm just curious.
Previously, in 2019, it was approved for a specific purpose.
All right.
And so I think since then it has worked like clockwork until this year when the intent, which was the banners would be about veterans and folks who, you know, were in public service. When that shifted, Public Works was like, oh, hey, this is different than what we had.
Sure,
previously.
So
Sure.
flagged
And
it.
so, yeah, and flagging, my memory
Yep,
was that
yep.
this was something different than what we received this year. And so we went back and looked and sure enough, indeed, I think the process has been pretty seamless for all this time.
Gotcha.
because
Okay,
it's-
so,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's because okay.
Because it was consistent with what happened, what was approved originally. And so we have a motion on the floor that's been seconded. So any more discussion about this?
No,
No.
but thank you for providing these
Agreed.
banners for 6 years.
Absolutely. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Carl, thank you very much. We're very grateful for your help and your support, and hopefully we can continue to work in the future. We'd enjoy doing that. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, let's, sorry, I don't mean to skip around here, but I'm gonna skip around. So DDA bylaws and new members is the other new.
So we're gonna do all the new business?
I'm
Okay.
sorry?
We're doing all the new business first.
Yes, we're doing all new
Okay.
business. Number 5, so
Page
that
number.
is
19.
19. So I think the issue came up in the last council meeting that we should consider expanding this illustrious group. And we currently, in our bylaws, it says that 9 members are authorized, but apparently we can have up to 12.
That's according to the state, because I was at the meeting. So according to the state, we can have 12, but I remember being part of a discussion when we set our personal bylaws at 9. I think that was prior.
Yeah, they are. No,
Well, no, that was prior to Emily or Kelly being here, but like we discussed it at length why 9 was a good number for our particular group. So as we're discussing expanding it, are there any current applications for people who are wanting to serve? I know people have been asked and declined, but have people come to this? Because
I think typically,
we haven't advertised any.
I think
openings, right?
typically we don't get a lot of applications because we don't advertise.
Right.
The last time that we appointed a new member, we had, I would say, at least 3 candidates.
Okay,
And so those other 2 who weren't appointed would still be candidates. I think
if they were still
applications,
interested.
if they're still interested, I think applications are sort of on file for up to a year.
Okay.
But again, we haven't advertised it at all. I've already spoken to Paul about, you know, if we were to go forward with this, could we work today to get the word out? So we don't know what interest might be.
Do we have, when you think about the other boards in the city, how many, like the planning committee, how many people are in that?
I think 9 is our biggest right now.
9 is is that our
Best of my
standard? Is that
knowledge.
fair to say?
I wouldn't say it's standard.
Okay.
Some are bigger, some are smaller. I don't think
Smaller.
any are bigger.
Okay.
But they vary in
Just
size.
curious.
I used to sit on the board appointment committee as one of the commissioners. I'm no longer on that committee, but we had a whole process of how these things would work, and we would put that out there when candidates came in. We'd meet as a group and we'd interview them and appoint them, make a
Sure.
decision. I just would suggest we follow the regular procedure that we do. Maybe I know, Emily, we've put it out on our social media before, like seeking board members for these positions.
Well, I mean, we'd, as I understand it, we'd have to approve an amendment to our bylaws to go from 9 to 12, the DDA's bylaws.
I mean, personally, I think 12 is unwieldy and unnecessary, but that's just my personal
Yeah,
opinion.
you know, to be honest with you, Deb, I kind of go back and forth on it too. I do think part of the driver, obviously, is the current topic of discussion. And it's probably driven more so by, we have a limited representation on the west side.
I mean, I
I
would
don't-
just push back a little bit. It's not because I have personally
no,
sought out
diff-
members, and he's on State Street.
Different
On the
issues.
west side.
You know, it's the old, you can lead the horse to water, you can't make him drink, right? So even there's no guarantee, obviously, if we, let's just say we did expand the board and we solicited applications that we don't know where they're gonna come.
I just want to be on record
Yeah.
as there's not some agenda to keep certain people off.
No,
That's not a thing
absolutely
that's
not.
happening in real
Absolutely
life.
not.
And that was
I think that's,
that was pretty much implied by when it came up.
I think that's categorically.
I was at the meeting and it was,
that's categorically
it was
false.
very
if you ask-
much
if you ask me,
implied.
But anyway,
Implied.
Yeah, I was sort of toying as to whether I was gonna say something about I was not at the meeting. I didn't hear it firsthand.
Right.
I did see it
nor did
printed
I.
in two different
Yep.
media outlets. And the idea that somehow the DDA has dropped the ball on paid parking because we aren't fully represented is insulting.
I would agree.
And I'm insulted. The idea of expanding the board is a separate discussion in my mind as to whether the
Sure.
number should be 9 or 12
Sure.
or some other number. My gut reaction is 9-ish is for a board, and I serve on a lot of boards. I've been on some that are 25
Yeah,
and you can't
unwieldy.
get anything done.
Yep,
I don't know if 12 is unreasonable,
sure.
and I'm all for representation, but none of us here are compensated in any manner. And the idea that somehow we dropped the ball, I think it's the person who made that comment, frankly, I think was just trying to toss the ball away from their vote
Sure.
and toss the blame to us, and I resent it.
Well, I wouldn't disagree with that at all. I think that any categorization of this group being, not doing its job, if you will, relative to this whole issue is categorically false. I mean, it just is. So I think we're all in agreement on that, but the issue at hand is, should we consider this? Part of one of the things I have a little bit of discomfort with is not just expanding, but expanding to an even number. I'm not sure that makes sense.
I agree with that.
Because it's the potential for contentious issues is always there, and you need an odd number. I mean, that's just the way the math works.
Tom,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
No, please,
interrupted
go
you.
ahead. Go
The only other comment I would make with regard to adding is that, on the one hand, I could argue, sure, let's, be open and add some more members. Okay, I could see that side of the argument. The other side could be that because we have such a divisive issue right now, I could see some people who want to become on the board for one issue.
Single issue, sure.
And that would concern me. I suspect it would
Yeah.
concern all of us.
Well,
but-
here's another.
And I don't
thought.
know that that's how we
No,
would
no, of
net
course,
out,
but it's a legitimate concern. Here's something else, I guess, to think about right now. Stephanie has resigned from our board.
Right.
So right now we have an open slot. So maybe I don't know if that's necessarily a compromise, but maybe pursuing an open application process for that particular role, because it's open, serves to whatever the objective here was of bringing on additional or new members or whatever, maybe it serves that purpose. And maybe we do that for now and set aside this expansion issue at this point in time.
I was gonna suggest, we have an opening. If we are flooded with applicants.
There you
who
go.
have a great
we can-
desire to serve, or even find out what
Yeah.
we're doing. I mean, I'm not
Now.
calling anyone, but this is the biggest audience we've had in a year.
Yeah.
I just,
That's not a
Form one
lie.
line.
we
All right.
we have had people come in because like Carl this morning come in
Specific
for,
issues.
they have a
Right,
thing and then they
right.
leave. And
That's
even
right.
that's pretty minimal.
That's right.
But for people at Monday night's meeting, because again, I was there, clamoring like they don't have a voice here.
All right.
There's certain people, and it's more than one, I've personally reached out to because I thought they would be a great
Right.
DDA representative. And it's always, no thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it's easy to stand up and say something for the cameras that you want and you're a willing, you
Sure.
want to be part of the solution and part of the conversation, but
So,
what are they?
I guess so, help me here just a minute. So given this opening, it's because it's an individual has resigned versus, the normal cycle, if you will. This board can appoint a new member if I read the bylaws correctly. So it's a little bit of a different process,
Is it?
So
but that doesn't
it-
mean we can't solicit applications.
it
I
goes
assume.
through the same process that Brooke was talking about.
Okay,
So all appointments are made by the mayor, which is really made by the city commission. And so there is a subgroup that does all of the interviews of all of the candidates. Right now, it is Michelle Binkley and Michael Fernandez who interview each of the candidates. I think to Brian's point, part of that is to make sure we're not selecting someone who is a single issue person,
Yeah,
but someone
yeah.
who is interested in joining the DDA to talk about all things DDA. Staff sits in on that, as well as our city clerk. And then that group makes a recommendation to the city commission. Typically, that goes on the consent agenda. I've never seen it be.
Even if it's a vacancy that's been created? Because
Yes.
Emily, I'm reading, I don't mean to.
No,
But in here, it says filling board vacancies. It says a vacancy of a board officer may be filled by the board for the unexpired portion of the term. Is that just officers or is that any member? I'm assuming then it's just officers. So in other
I
words,
guess so.
if
It-
I resigned, let's,
Yeah.
for sake of argument, not
But
today, so
then
don't
this
get everybody
board-
smiling. But if I happened to, then that would be appointed
Then
by
this
the board,
board
but
could
not
appoint a
the
new chair.
member.
Right.
I got you. Okay,
And-
very good.
And
Thank you.
Tom, you've reminded me that you also participated in the interviews previously.
I did,
So
yeah.
someone from the DDA is
Yeah,
also
no,
on those
it's,
interviews, along with Michelle and Michael.
So what,
So.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Ron.
Just a technical question then, I guess, if we, because we all are aware that there's a lot of people who talk about joining, but then when actually confronted with, hey, come and join, they beg off.
Yeah.
If we were to expand the membership of the board without applicants, how will that affect us holding meetings as far as a
Quorums.
quorum?
I think a quorum though is 50% plus one of the board. So even if
Right,
you
so
have-
if we expand without having
sorry, but-
applicants,
but-
without having,
No.
But if you have 9 members of the board, 5 make up a quorum, even if you're authorized up to 12.
Right.
Right.
It-
So
it-
right
Oh,
now,
okay.
It's
so
all
right now
board
with
members.
one
okay, so of
vacancy,
the current, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right,
Of the
that
current.
was my question. All right.
I think that
So
that
we
is
could, we
correct.
could expand it and it wouldn't affect
So-
us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to give my opinion on the expansion. So I wasn't at the meeting. I do want to hear a little bit more from you, Deb.
Chris was also there.
But when I read the comments, I did reach out to the city commissioner who called for an expansion. And in my opinion, in cooperation with the city commission, I don't have a problem with an expansion to say 11 people. And I think we give it one last try in light of everything going on, to grab somebody. And you're right, I also have talked to 4, if not more people, business owners on State Street to join our group to have a voice. They're too busy, but I think with the public call for the expansion, let's try one more time and just see if we can grab a couple of those folks to join our group, because in my opinion, the more information they get firsthand,
Right.
like we have, the better off we're going to be in terms of messaging and understanding these issues. And it's not just the paid parking, there's going to be other things coming down the pike, but I think the more people we have that get the message firsthand from us and the experts, the better we'll be.
Those were going to be my comments too, when they get the correct information about
Correct,
what's
yeah.
actually happening and not listening to Facebook comments of misinformation, then we can
Right.
really, they're going to hear firsthand what is
Right.
actually true and happening here.
I want to go back to what Brian's saying because I think he's right on, and I was at the meeting. The last I checked, this isn't a political board. And one of the reasons I enjoy serving on it is because it's not political. And to have this board bail out the city commission because they want 12 people to respond to the public because they're getting cold feet in terms of the parking is a silly way for us to go. And it shows that we're just placating all of the people that are protesting to parking for all the reasons that we didn't do. We're not representative, we're not fair, we didn't investigate it. No, the time to stop is now. We have 9 people, 9 people function well. If we have trouble getting it out, well, 3 more people on this board is going to make us communicate more to the audience. So again, let's not change our procedures because we've got a bunch of angry, pitchfork people out in the crowd trying to get change for change's sake. We don't need to make this change. We can stick with our bylaws. We have the opportunity to expand what we talked about in terms of opening it up to these people might placate stuff, but I don't think we have to address the public that's complaining about the parking, even though we started it.
I think it seems to me, just listening to all the discussion here, we have a couple of options. First
Tom,
option.
do you mind if I make just one more comment and then a proposal, which we might be on the same page? Go
I was
ahead.
going there. Well,
All right.
what I was going to say,
Yeah.
Brian, is I think, kind of 2 options in my view. The first being, we have an opening. That opening has to be filled. We have a process for filling that opening. I think as Deb points out, that'll gauge the level of interest that is out there relative to serving on this board. And, let's say, sake of argument, we got 10 applications that were serious. I think then, we might consider that expansion. So that's one option. And the other expansion obviously is to move to, and again, I propose an odd number, but move to say 11 board members forthwith. And then, put out the call for applicants for that. But I don't disagree with what Chris is saying here either. I'd probably opt for option 1 and let's see what happens. And if we get, a deluge of applications, then we can reconsider that issue. That would be my thinking. Go ahead, Brian.
Your proposal is where I was going as well, which is let's advertise that there's an opening.
Yes.
And see if we get some candidates who are wanting to come onto the board for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And if we get 12, then we go. And I agree with you, Tom, that the number should be an
11.
odd number.
Yeah.
It should be 11.
I think
I
we have
agree.
to do that. Yeah.
The only other comment that I was going to make, which is that, it's frankly a little bit more venting here, which is that, I, along with others who own businesses here, have been called for on social media to boycott our businesses. And so, that it's not usually you're on a board like this and it's fairly innocuous, but this one, there are people who are not coming into my business. There's somebody who walked in and threw her gift card down on the table and said, I just used this up and I will never step foot in your store again. So, that's the kind, we need to have people who are willing to take a stand on this board. So now I'm done.
In
appreciate
addition
it.
to
I
people
appreciate it.
boycotting on Facebook, there's an active campaign. People are writing letters to the corporate cheese lady.
Yeah.
Telling
Yeah, I
me
understand.
what
There's a
bad
lot of-
person I am.
If you're not on social media, maybe you haven't seen the ugliness. It's bad. I'm monitoring
Really
it
bad.
every day. It's horrible. And so,
Going next door, it's a
Um,
cesspool.
yeah. And so, some of this could possibly be litigious. It's not good, but I don't know, Chris, I agree with you. Yeah, it's one thing to tune it all out, don't do anything, but you know what? The businesses are organizing. They've got a new person stepping up. They're having a meeting. It was either yesterday or it's this Sunday. So they're ramping up to keep this going. So to ignore it, I don't know how you can in this climate. And I don't know how you can with the social media being as prominent and ugly as it is. And so I think that all you can do is try to get some of those key people to understand and be part of the process. I don't know any other way to do it.
Well, I don't know whether that solution is to get more people on this board, because then why don't we go to 13? Okay, or 15. I think maybe the way to do that is that we don't communicate well. We don't have a public relations program. We were not out in front of this when it started.
No.
We were caught with our hands down, with our pants down, and there's lots of things that weren't in place. Lots of things were, but I think we underestimated how potentially onerous this would end up, being. So it really is communication. It really is outreach. It's really for us putting forth the other stuff. I agree with Brian. I'm insulted. I'm insulted by what people are saying and how we didn't do our due diligence to move forward. There's lots of things we could have done that we haven't done because we weren't ahead of the curve. But again, I don't think you can fault us, fault this board, or fault any of our staff or any of the commissioners or anybody else for taking this, too lightly. I look at this in terms of the one woman who got up at the end that made a pretty good comment. And she sat there and said, I do all this stuff and you need to be prepared. And when the shit hits the fan and all you guys do is change this and give in here and give in here and there, what that tells me is you weren't quite ready yet. Because you don't know what you believe in. You're not doing what you believe in. You're making a whole bunch of accommodations to get the mob to go away. That shows that you're ill prepared and you might not believe in what you're doing. And again, I don't think I hear those comments differently than other people do. I don't think people really saw that by trying to massage the mob, you're really, what do we do next? Okay? What do we do next? And if we continue to keep giving into them, it's going to be one more thing and one more thing and one more thing. So you got to decide where to go. I just lost a tenant because her customers were too old and never had any help from anyone at any of the kiosks over the last couple of weeks. And her 65-year-old, she's a hearing specialist. All the people are unwilling to come to her anymore because they're unwilling to pay for parking. They wanted her to pay for the parking, but she's a small business person, didn't feel that she could do that. Some shopkeepers do it. Other people do different types of things to keep their customer base, to communicate with their customer base. She took the easy way out and canceled her lease and moved out to Cleveland because the old people don't know how to use these machines and can't do it on their phone, and there's no one there to help them. So yeah, I'm paying for my belief, as Brian just said, I'm paying for my belief in parking, and I'm not going to change my mind. And I just lost $400.
Okay, so I think, I agree with all the comments being made here. I think this issue relative to the membership, just to close the loop on this, if you're I'm inclined to fill the vacancy that we have and react to that, to the applications we get and see what that process brings us. So
Well, at least we tried. If you
Well,
get
but-
zero
that's right.
applications, there we go, but.
But advertise it.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That
So
seems
listen,
like
it's an open, I don't know,
Yes.
Emily, Kelly, can we do it that way?
On the-
Because
on
we
the-
have a
how you guys
vacancy.
normally do on the
Can we-
website, the
uh,
Facebook post.
Can we
yeah.
advertise an opening?
Of course, we
Yeah.
can absolutely advertise an opening. We are sharing on Facebook without comments turned on because the comments are so ugly
Yeah.
recently. But when those posts are shared, the comments can be turned on. So I'm just going to warn the group, if we go with Facebook, when people share, there will be comments and I assume they will be ugly.
Well, why
If
do you
we-
need to turn the comments on just for a job posting?
No, I'm saying we will turn them off. All comments
Oh.
are off right now, but anyone who shares
Oh,
it
I
out
see what you're
can
saying.
turn on
Okay.
They
the
can,
comments.
they can
Um,
comment on the share.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I
So
think,
if that's something the group is okay with, we'll do it.
okay.
Otherwise, I would go with the website and working closely with St. Joe.
Yeah,
today.
I mean, however you think it's appropriate to advertise it, so it's
I mean,
appropriately
it,
distributed.
what we want are downtown businesses. I don't
Right.
think it needs to be on Facebook for all
Oh,
of the
okay.
city to
I see what
see.
you're saying.
So, Paul, is this something you can advertise to your membership too, I assume? As we have an opening and
Yeah, I think we could find a
I don't know what the appropriate,
way
yeah.
to do it in the appropriate way. As has been to post on Facebook.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
I
do
see what you're
this?
saying.
We're deleting 10 comments a day on our scare mural.
Really?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
We delete dozens and dozens of comments every single day from our Facebook posts.
That's ridiculous.
I
Well,
would
that
just caution if you
website, I
don't
think, yeah.
advertise for every other post that we
That's
do.
fair.
I think we should just do it the same way. So if you don't, maybe word of mouth would
Just
be.
your
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, and we can, I mean, we can go door to door if we need to. We'll work with Paul. We'll make a game plan to make sure the word gets out appropriately
That's
to
all.
downtown
I mean, that's
businesses.
the issue is
Just do it the
make
same
sure
way
it
we
gets
always do
widely
it.
communicated.
Yep.
So so it's not like we're, being selective or
Yep.
whatever someone would
Yep.
accuse us of.
Yep.
So we want it to be widely distributed. It's an open application process. Anyone is free to apply as long as they meet the criteria for being a board member, and we go from there.
I think as the city is a member of St. Joe today, using the traditional member benefits to broadcast information within our guidelines, I think it would fit appropriately. So I think if we can find a way to thread that needle
Then-
with any board position.
Right, let's do it for all of them, or if there's
I
other
mean, it's,
openings,
it's-
let's get them all out there at the same time.
I mean, it's it's
Yeah.
public
Those other
information. I mean,
vacancies.
there's
On
nothing
everything, yeah.
secret here. Okay. All right. So I think, we've sufficiently worked that over. And, hopefully, you know what we would like to do here, Emily and Kelly.
Can I-
While we were still fresh.
Can I ask one more procedural?
Please,
I mean,
please.
the city commission, I have this kind of dual role, obviously. and
Sure,
The city commission
course.
gave direction about what, my memory's foggy. What was the exact direction the city commission gave?
The city commission as a whole did not.
Mhm.
A city commissioner asked that the DDA explore increasing their membership up to 12, which is the maximum allowed by the state. And so that was sort of pushed to the DDA to consider.
Sure.
A recommendation, not a mandate, just a suggestion.
So we explored
Have
it,
one commissioner.
Thank you.
Right.
I think.
Right, there was no
I-
I
motion.
think we explored.
I think we explored, discussed. and-
He's particularly interested in business people.
Yeah.
Particularly interested in West Side
West
businesses.
Side business.
I
And
think
that
specifically
we've got a good
because
process.
West Side businesses are saying that they were not looped into this. And so with the goal of giving them more of a voice.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Right.
so
Understood.
am I,
Sue lives
but,
there,
you know,
right.
Good. So
Right.
is Stephanie.
I live on state, but, you know.
I understand.
Tammy's over there on the west side
And
too, right?
Would would it be helpful to make a list of these roles and what, just kind of a demographic kind of a thing, like what roles we fill, what we're looking for, what are we missing? I mean, it sounds like we have lots of west side representation already, and maybe we don't have enough east side.
Don't even-
No, I think
The ultimate irony.
in my mind, we have, I think one of the gaps that we have is West Side business owners, right? We have retail.
Thank
We
you.
have a
Thank you
lot
for
of building
what they
owners,
want, yeah.
right? Chris is one, Sue is one, Stephanie was one.
Mhm.
She had been a business owner, but then
Right.
sold her business. And so the majority of the West Side was not someone who had a brick and mortar shop until we added Brian.
Got it.
And so I think that's the kind of addition we
Then it
probably
went
need.
downhill.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Chair.
yep, please, please.
This is all great discussion, and Mayor Thomas, your comment made me think, oftentimes the boards that I've worked with in the past, every 2, 3, 5 years, they'll dust off the bylaws, they'll do a review overall, that can be. what's the
Other things,
composition that you
sure.
want? What do you feel about attendance, about terms, about all that stuff? So maybe, that's something that could be considered as a bigger look at this.
Yeah, I think that's
I agree.
probably fair.
And my personal just gut feeling about, given the toxicity on social media, targeting businesses, owners that sit on this board. There's not a business owner on State Street who's gonna agree to join this board this month.
Well, we're
Let's
gonna
see.
find out.
Let's see.
We're gonna
Let's
find
see.
out.
We'll see.
Okay.
I can be wrong. I've been
I
wrong
think,
lots of stuff.
okay, ladies, I hope we've given you, confused you enough in terms of what we're trying to do. All right, thank you. So I thought what we might do next is move up our public comment section. No, we don't need a vote. Do we need a vote? I don't think so, yeah.
Right.
So we have a gentleman in the audience here. Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry. Did you have any public comment you wanted to make? Oh, okay. No, well, if you did, we'd love to hear it, but
And thanks
okay.
for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Ah, right. Ah, very good. All right. Well, thank you. All right. So let's shift over now that I've completely screwed up this agenda. Let's shift over to old business. So first item there, oddly enough, parking program revenue. So we talked about things to do with funds that we are gathering from parking. So in your package, Kelly has thrown a list in there of things that we've discussed previously, frankly. And so I think it's worth a little bit of discussion about not just those items, but you know, how we approach this whole issue. Go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, no, I just, I pulled kind of what we talked about from previous meetings and the slides from the parking program, presentation. And just some other ideas that have been thrown out. I think one of the things, you know, we're hearing is what is this revenue going to be used for once everything is paid off, right? So I think, you know, with 80% of the revenue coming back to the downtown parking district,
Right.
if we can kind of get some concrete plans and ideas, you know, I think that would be a good thing. And again, this list is not all inclusive. It's just, it was kind of some brainstorming and just things.
I think
pulled.
what we talked about a little bit, and you know, it may be a little bit of a consensus, is on this issue of quick wins. You know, how do we get something that's tangible, that's maybe a little easier, maybe a little bit lighter on the checkbook, but is visible. Because I think that would start to demonstrate here the potential, one of the potential benefits of this whole program. So I know people have thrown out different things like revitalizing the public art program, for example. And
So-
I think that's a excellent idea. I don't know the mechanics of that. I don't know the cost of it. I don't know all the details, but it's probably worth looking into.
At what point would we have a preliminary revenue number from paid parking?
We have numbers already, but
Okay.
I think they're pretty early on. I would wait another.
Parking committee is meeting right
Yeah,
after this.
yeah.
Okay,
Another month or so to start to gauge some
Okay.
activity levels, maybe get through 4th of July.
Maybe if it just got above 50
Yeah,
degrees,
because
that'd be
I think
great.
it's early.
okay.
A thought I had on this, just bear with me here, that I was thinking about personally is, what if we thought about, one of the programs I thought was very successful for us was this facade grant program, you know, where we provided partial funding and then the business owners did. And, you know, we ended up doing, I don't know, 10 or 12 of those, maybe a few more, give or take. Yeah, give or take. Yeah, whatever the number is. I thought that was very successful. It was, you know, the business owners had a stake in it. We helped with a piece of this, and I thought we had a good thing. So a thought I had was, under the guise of parking revenue, is, you know, what if we put together a program that made a splash with it, where we provided grants to businesses to improve their surroundings? Maybe not, we'd have to think about the criteria here, but what if we could get together $100,000 and we provided, say, $10,000 grants to businesses to make improvements, maybe within their businesses or on the outside of their businesses or something of that nature, and we could sell it as a benefit of the parking program. Now, it's not generic enough like new street lights or benches or things like that, but I think it begins to demonstrate what the potential benefits are of this parking thing. Just an idea I had, you know, over the weekend, but
So
so I'm
like it.
interested in other thoughts.
I like it. I like it if it's more specific and in target, like awnings
Okay.
and businesses buying. I think it's more important instead of giving, I love the awning grant thing because I think that's cheaper. But if 10 businesses get a big chunk of money, I think it needs to be a more broad appealing. Yes, it should appeal to the business owners, but I think it needs to be a more public, tangible.
Visible thing.
A
Sure.
more visible
Yeah,
thing, like,
I hear you.
I think that's great, but I think in this moment, it needs to be something that everyone can enjoy.
In
Yeah.
both.
And everyone
Like-
can appreciate, and
Fair,
everyone
fair.
can see.
So you're saying like outside of the business?
Well, like I said, I think awnings are great because there's some in serious disrepair. We wouldn't have to limit it. We wouldn't have to be so limiting because it's not that.
So
it's
when
not
you
as big.
think about
But
this.
Like, that's why I think public art.
Yeah,
is
I
good.
don't disagree. So when you think about this, then, you know, we've got a list of things and we've talked about a lot of things. What is it? What, even being real specific here, what is it that we can do that would be visible, that would be, you know, kind of beneficial to lots of different, you know, to the whole downtown thing, maybe, you know, is there something we can do to change the look on a, you know, we're on a little bit of a beer budget now as opposed to a champagne budget right now. So we got to think about that, but I'm all for that. I mean, I think some quick win, something visible, something that people would say, hey, look, they just did X, whatever X is. So yeah, we just need some ideas on
I'm
that.
really curious about this alley improvements. I spoke with one business owner who was really all about it. And when I looked at it myself, I was like, it is pretty ugly back
Yeah.
here. And I
Yeah.
think that could be, I'm curious about business owners' perspective on this, because if you did an entire alley, that would benefit all the businesses on that area. You could make it artistic. You might be addressing safety issues, bring light back there, make it more public, you know, safety walkways. I don't know. It might be a win for a lot of different things.
Well, and I want to jump on what Deb and Tom are saying, is that what they're doing is they're personalizing it, okay? If we get a bunch of money, if we get $100,000 of parking revenue, that monster in the sky, we're going to give $10,000 to 10 people. So I get something by bringing people to downtown as opposed to keeping them away. I get, there's something, this parking's got something in it for me, or whether it's the facade grant, which was very successful last year. You guys did a great job, or whether it's awnings, that's a personal win to me. Okay, I'm suffering because you're driving all my businesses away now. Oh, I'm going to get a kickback. Well, they don't understand the kickback that we see. Okay, we see a huge kickback to the community. They don't see it. I'm losing business, and now you're going to give me. You should run. You should run for commissioner. You give away $10,000 to 10 people. You got any
For
Bitcoins in your back
small
pocket?
cost and high visibility.
Yeah.
I just had a couple, two ideas that I thought would again be very visible to the public, which would be music downtown, some public speakers that could kind of play some nice back, you know, as everyone's enjoying the downtown, and free Wi-Fi brought to you by the DDA, you know, that sort of thing. You know, you could have hotspots all throughout the downtown.
I like the free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean, these are low cost things. I mean, obviously, if you're doing music, then what are you going to play, blah, blah, whatever. But I think it would be stuff that would be very, very visible,
How-
and relatively low cost.
How,
Good.
I made the suggestion when, around the holidays, you know, that we pay somebody to come in and put up speakers.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You play Christmas music all through the
And we do
season.
that
exactly,
already.
well, we could play
Yeah.
Christmas music year round.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People
so
would
if we-
love that.
Yeah, some would.
Beach Boys in July.
Yeah,
Music
but
definitely
if we
sets
were
a
to
tone.
use, if, you know, to
That'd be a
install
big hit.
public, you know, speakers that frankly could also be used for safety. You know.
Oh,
if-
sure.
You know, you
Grant
could
money.
make an announcement, you know, that sort of thing. I think one thing that we should think about, and obviously we're not going to make decisions today, is we need to get an idea of what the revenue's going, what is the net going to be? And then I think we ought to try to put some rough numbers. You know, because we could say we want to do the alley and we find out, well,
It's $1
that
million.
alley's going to cost $1 million, you know.
Right.
So anyway, I think that's we're missing a couple of pieces of information for us to, and I know we're not gonna
No, that's fair.
decide something today.
Yeah,
I
I
think-
think,
Go ahead.
sorry, I think we're going to be missing that information for a little while.
Okay,
I think if we continue where we are now, which is cold,
yeah,
terrible weather, we're probably going to break even on our expenses, right? And so what we need to see is what the numbers look like as the weather improves,
right.
so that we can start to do some projections of, okay, and this is what we, you know, might see in terms of
Yeah, right.
revenues.
Yeah.
I am confident that the numbers will go up
Sure.
as the
Yeah,
weather improves,
so,
and we
right.
will be able to start projecting, but we don't have that yet. I
What
mean,
is it?
we're 2
Emily?
weeks and,
Yeah.
you know, we're 18 days in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emily, what's the equipment cost? What was that? number?
300,000.
300.
So that's what I'm referring
Yeah,
to
that's right,
specifically in
right.
terms
So-
of breaking even.
So yeah,
got a
that's
lot
gonna
of
be
the
the.
first-
Boy,
that's
social
the-
media said it was $1 million.
I
Just
know,
saying.
I know. And now I'll tell you what Kelly tells me,
That-
stay off of social media.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
right,
goodness.
right.
That
Yeah.
included the shuttle buses, the
Yeah,
free
sure.
shuttle buses.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
And that condo in Boca we bought. That's
Yeah.
right.
Right,
That's
right, yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so,
And I just want to ask.
please,
Can
no,
I just
please,
have a
Dan.
clarification between this list, we have things that are amenities, like the Wi-Fi is an amenity, but we also have things that are programmatic, like the public art
Yes,
campaign.
yes.
So as the
Two different
DDA,
things, that's right.
do we do programmatic things
We
as the DDA?
we can. I mean.
Okay,
do it.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the clarification
yeah,
I
we-
needed.
Yeah, we can.
Contract with someone to do programmatic.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm,
right,
okay.
right, right.
Thank you.
I have one tiny.
No, but excuse me a minute, it's a good point because, you know, certain things are kind of capital in nature where there's some physical things that we do. And then the other things are, you know, like a public art program or, you know, we have a concert or, you know, whatever it is, yeah.
It just seems to me if we can provide amenity, I guess I'm lean to the amenity side, right? Something that's longer lasting,
Yeah.
something that's of use.
Tangible.
Yes.
I just want to make one comment. I also had a conversation while standing in one of the alleys with one of the State Street business owners, talking about that 80% revenue coming back into the DDA and describing, because I've always had those alleys drive me crazy. I've always kind of had that in my mind about how we can beautify alleys. Remember, I was the one who suggested, like, can we get alley captains just to do cleanup? Just because if we cleaned them, they'd look so much better. But this particular business owner did not see the value. She doesn't think it would matter.
Really?
And so I think that while that's a great suggestion down the road, I think for the first benefit of, it's got to be something that it's a give back. And that's why I think the awnings, you could even do awnings / doorways, but it has to be something that they are seeing that they're saving money. And then I think like public art, I think, you know, you can totally make that definitely draws people downtown. There's no doubt about it. But I think first it's got to be something really like tangible that they go, oh my gosh, okay, now I see how this can benefit me. So
I like the Wi-Fi idea too, to that end. I think customers would like that. I don't know what that would cost.
Just a really, really quick one. I've tried to, I still am on social media. I've stopped engaging on any of the persuasive parts. But if somebody asks a direct question, somebody asked me, why aren't there bike racks downtown? I'm like, I think they're installed. And I reached out and they were. And I said, and she commented back, a really good place for a few more bike racks would be down by the band shell because a lot of people ride their bike down there. And then on the other, like they're already down kind of at the library end, at the other end, because a lot of people ride their bikes to farmers market. So I said I would pass that on as if we're going to purchase a few more bike racks, that's an easy peasy one.
Actually, that was another, that's
That was a
reminds me
place
of
to
another
put 'em.
amenity that I brought up, I think, in a previous meeting, is one of those bike repair towers.
yeah.
Would be another, yeah, those are cool. You put that, you know, right on the bluff or something.
Mhm.
Because we do get a lot of cyclists.
So I think, you know, we're throwing out a lot of good ideas here, Emily, Kelly. I'm thinking, maybe we need to get a little bit better feel for, what's happening on the, you know, kind of the financing side of this whole equation. I think it's premature right now, frankly, because we don't know how that's going to develop. We've had a little bit of a bad string. It was 42 degrees at my house this morning, which was enlightening. So
It went down to
But I think
38.
yeah, it
if
was
we have-
38. Yeah,
It went down to
if
38.
we
So,
have an
I
initial
pray for my
project
plants.
kind of in our back pocket
Yeah.
so that we can, if this thing takes off, which I'm still positive.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
Hopeful that it will,
I think it
but
will.
I think, you know, if we have a project that we kind of are all in agreement on, that we could launch, whether it's fall or whatever it is, I think.
Well, that was
would be
my thought on this
beneficial.
program that I described, not too eloquently, but it would be like, hey, you know, right now, nobody's going to do anything to their business, right? It's summer and
Yeah,
everybody's
right.
busy. So if you said, okay, September 1 or day after Labor Day or whatever the heck it is, you say, all right, we've launched this program and we're taking applications. Maybe we start in the middle of August or whatever. And, you know, however we define the criteria in terms of what we're targeting. But I don't know. I think if people see a tangible benefit, I mean, I can go either way. I mean, I get the public display type thing. And I think that's important too. But I think if from the business owner's perspective, if he can see something direct.
I think I also want to know what the business owners value. I don't want to say, we're
True.
going to give you awnings and everyone's like, we don't need an awning. So I would love to get maybe an email out and be like, if you were to pick your top 5 projects to improve your store, what would those be?
yeah.
And
I
maybe
wouldn't
we'll
say
see a
improve-
common theme.
I don't
Improve
think,
the
Improve the
downtown.
downtown, don't-
Improve the downtown, yeah.
yeah,
And do we want to consider starting out with investing some money in a communications campaign?
yeah. Well, we've.
Inform people of what we're doing.
Yes, something, that's for sure.
Yeah,
You
they-
know, I mean, really,
know, we
to give
talked,
them, we're considering
yeah.
you know, what to do with our first bucket of money. These are some ideas. What do you think? I don't know
Yeah.
if that's fruitful or not, if it's too volatile, but
Well,
Can we-
all this
can we
stuff
do
ties
that?
together a little bit. The branding we've been talking about and the communication, we've been a little bit hindered because our communication person has been, yeah, out of pocket, which is not unfortunate.
Our
great-
comms person is on maternity leave.
Yeah, great. for
Yay,
her. It's
baby
terrific.
Lincoln, and returning soon. Timing couldn't be worse. But I have also reached out to a communications firm to look at bringing someone in to provide some support. I expect to have a quote early this week to support on comms related to parking, and I think it could support on comms related to the benefits as well. So certainly we can continue to discuss that.
Go ahead.
So a couple of thoughts on all of this. I think it's great. There's lots of great ideas coming out. I think a short-term win is really important, so someone can see something. I do worry a little bit about soliciting for ideas, because it gives the
Yes.
impression that, well, hey,
Yeah.
we got all this money, and we didn't even know what we were gonna do with it. or
Yeah.
why we needed the money. So
Oh, yeah.
I would be very
Fair.
cautious on that. I will remind everyone that Public Act 197 of 1975
Whoa.
has all of the powers of the board. So if there's things you're thinking about spending money on that might be outside of that, look at that. There's things you've never even talked about. DDAs can fund business incubators. They can do all kinds of things. I think having a long-term capital improvements plan is pretty darn important so that you can be projecting out further. Something that I think we could convince our organization to do is if there's any sort of interest pivoting away from the project that has been considered on this side of the street or something else in short term on the other side of Main, we would support the direction the city wants to go. So if Workplace Plaza becomes a 2026 or 27 project, in the interest of getting a win, we'd be willing to see purpose our commitment to that. Just a quick comment on the Wi-Fi. Before I arrived, we tried that in Benton Harbor going through AT&T, and it was a massively expensive fiasco that didn't work well.
Mhm.
We went through a private vendor and did it in a much better, cheaper way. So if that becomes something.
About how, do you remember about how much it
We
cost?
spent like $30,000 for a piece of land smaller than this room, and it was awful. And then we pivoted and we put another couple thousand in, and it covered all of the arts district for like $150 a month. So.
Yeah.
Just be mindful of how you do it,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to make some connections.
I will say though, one thing that's happening right now, AT&T, I don't know if it got downtown, but they just ran high-speed fiber.
Yeah.
And they have now come to see me at my Niles Road store. Hey, guess what we have? And we'll pay off your Comcast. and-
Fiber.
So that AT&T, I don't know if that came through the city. If it did, they might be interested in partnering here with high-speed fiber for their own, you know, we could get Comcast and AT&T to be,
Maybe a
competing-
little competition.
Yeah.
for it, That's right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
so, I
sorry.
apologize.
No, that's a great comment. Again, I think doing something quick is really important to show a win. It's great that the comms team is engaged, I think, talking about parking, but also something that's more just general marketing. Come to St. Joe, this is all the great stuff we have, like, people aren't seeing that much right now. I mean, you're doing great work, the tourism council is doing great work, but, last thing, programming, I do think there's some merit to it, and maybe even some things like shoulder season and slow season programming, saying, hey, we're investing in bringing more people to downtown and to your business when they're not here in summer months.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Right.
I'm going to jump in just really quickly with two more things. The first is, well, it doesn't need to be today. I know we don't have the numbers yet and we don't know what we can spend yet, but we have a lot on our plates. Running an entire parking program and also full-time jobs. And so if this group can give us direction on where you would like to go, it will help us to quickly launch when we feel financially like we're in a good place. And I'm happy for us to pursue a couple of initiatives, right? If we only have this much money, we want to do this. And if we end up with more, we want to do this. I think we can then do the legwork to be able to launch it quickly, but I wouldn't want to put that off for too long because it does take time to
Right.
make that happen. And I think to Andrew's point, I agree completely. We want to be able to show quick wins. We want to be able to quickly at least say, this is what we're going to do. The second thing, Kelly just informed me while we were talking, we heard back from the comms person with a quote of $3,000 to $7,500 to support comms related to the parking program, which I think we could probably increase some to do some of the other comms that we're talking about. I did not intend to ask you guys for approval on that today, but if that is something you're supportive of, there is certainly money in the budget, and I think it could be a really beneficial.
What do you need? 5,000, up to 5,000?
I would go up to 7,500, which is the
7,500, sure.
top range.
I
to start with.
suspect we wouldn't have an issue with
Is
that.
this something outside the scope of what the person you've hired could do?
This is, I think, more sophisticated comms on where we are currently related to parking and all of the negativity. I think that our comms person is great, but I think that having someone come in who might be able to focus on that rather, again, than someone who's got a full-time job doing a lot of things, including
I mean,
supporting.
it's a little bit of
Like a
Could be helpful.
crisis comms.
Someone
person.
who can do that type of work. I don't know if we're at that level, but
Yeah,
yes,
I mean, that's
someone
the
who
only
can,
word.
somean who can come in and provide support for where.
I mean, I would
Who's the
just-
quote
Call it
from?
crisis.
That's okay.
Who are you talking to? What's the name of the?
What's the name of the firm? Sabo. It's my good friend and colleague Andrew Hahn referred someone that he has worked with previously, Sabo PR. And they do comms. This woman specifically focuses on municipal government. We talked to her and she was like, oh yeah, paid parking. I mean, she, I think has experience with this and is someone who I think could provide more expertise in this space than
Yeah.
I think it's a-
our
I think,
specific.
I think
you
it's a
know,
good idea.
depending on what her, you know, if you decide to go that route, you know, what the scope of work is, but, you know, I think there's a lot of criticism, like you keep throwing more money at it, right? And I know 5,000 is not a lot, but still, I'd like to see what they're going to put out there. I think, you know, I'm still waiting for just a really simple something that I can share with my friends who still are like confused. They think the kiosks are confused. And I don't know if we'll have time at today's meeting, but there's still some questions I have. Like, can you add time from the app or can't you? Or, you know, like that, there just seems to be some glitches that I don't know if this person could help with that, like that level.
Sure.
Just to get people more comfortable. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I think Kayla can help with that as well. We have comms that explain some of that and
Yeah.
we can talk separately or as a group,
Yeah.
whatever's easiest. But we do have some of that.
My only comment about contracting for somebody is, you know, just if we do it, eyes wide open, all of the decisions we make are public. And I could see that backfiring.
Good too.
You know, oh yeah, they're spending our $7,500 just to justify their position. So I would be in favor of it, but eyes wide open if we make that decision.
I think,
agree.
you know, the reality here is Kayla, the timing of her absence, and I don't mean this to sound bad, but the timing of her absence was, I don't want to say catastrophic, but it was a serious blow.
Well, it is what it is, but
It
she's
is what
back.
it
She's
is. So
coming
I guess the
back,
way I would
so-
think about it, to Brian's point, is that, you know, we had the reality of life, you
Yeah.
know, it is what it is. So all we're in a sense doing is kind of filling. the
We're
hole.
backfilling her.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're filling
I
the
think that's
hole a little bit. And I know
why
that's
I
not
asked
completely it,
If
but
what we're looking for is outside the
Such a mean
scope of what.
person.
Yeah.
I mean, the lady had a baby. I mean, like, oh my God, I'm
Well,
like, you
yeah.
know, I feel badly even saying that, but that's the reality, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it's just
I know,
bad
you know, it
timing,
is
but
what it
it
is.
is what it is,
So,
yeah.
so I'm inclined under that kind of thinking to
I think
go
it makes
forward
sense,
with
Tom.
this. I don't know.
Do, do we need a motion?
I think we need a motion
I-
to
I'm-
approve
I'm-
up to $7,500 for communications
Yeah.
support, I guess I call
Can you just clarify, would that come from the fund balance?
it. The company use that specific,
Would you pull that money from the fund balance? I just want to be clear on where it's coming
actually,
from.
you could probably fit it in our budget this year.
Probably.
Yeah, let's just use the budget, yeah.
Okay.
Is there some kind of document that they are providing as far as, will you
Kelly,
send that to us?
Hold it up right
You have a
there.
Thank you.
proposal.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay.
Yeah, and obviously you'll negotiate
Right,
and,
Yeah.
you know, that sort of thing. We're just authorizing up to $7,500.
So that might help in
And it
this
may or may not
instance.
be that person that you hire.
What to do.
We're not telling you who to hire. Yeah.
So that might help in this instance that we're not using parking funds to pay for this. We're using DDA funds.
No, we're using.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I move what Tom just said.
Okay.
I second the
Second,
move that he.
Seconded, right. Oh, okay. Any more discussion about that, that particular item?
I'd just like to have an outline of what they're gonna do and how they're gonna do it and what their time frame is.
Okay.
And while you're contracting with them, you know, make another call or two to find out whether or not they're way above or way below what other people might or might not do. You know, single source contracting, we do a lot of that around here. Doesn't always work.
Fair.
Agreed. We
Fair.
should also
Look.
try to look to see if, I don't know if that's something that, who's the agency on,
Holt Bossy.
Holt, yeah, does
Yep.
Holt Bossy do? Because then we're hiring somebody who's,
We'll get a couple
I
additional
don't have no
quotes.
idea if that's something they do or not.
We'll get a couple additional quotes and Chris, I think the parking subgroup will hear a lot more about it.
Good, we
All
can
right,
talk about
so-
it more.
Any other discussion on this?
No.
All right, so all in favor of that motion, say
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed?
Oh, can I just go back to,
Yeah, one name. Yeah.
at the start of the email came in, but you had said, you know, if you guys could get some directions about what we want to do and get some legwork done. So I probably stepped out of bounds, but because I was thinking about public art and whatever, I just reached out to the company the city always used and I'm like, hey, do you ever, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, can you give me some really generic quotes, how much it costs? Because my recollection of past public art projects, and I know I could look all this up, but I'm too lazy. Was that a significant portion of all the budget was
Advertising.
marketing and advertising and billboards and print materials and stuff. And while I think it's good to do that, I thought it was an overspend personally. But so I reached out and tried to do some legwork just to see. I've been communicating with him. He gave me some stuff because I shot out a few ideas at him and stuff. But, and if you don't want me to pursue it, I know you guys are super busy just trying to work the back end of the parking stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'll just reach out and see. So if you want me to just stop, I will, but since it was,
Yeah, I mean, if we could get some,
and
rough
if he gets back to,
idea.
like, he sent me some
See what-
examples over the weekend and I'm like, hey, how much does a bug like that cost? Or a butterfly. I think he gave me bees and butterflies or something. I'm like, is that like
Bee City.
$500 or $2,500? Cause I don't know. Just so we would have a better, really rough, just the physical thing. So if he gets back to me, I will pass it on.
all right.
I was hoping he'd get here
Um,
today, but.
Okay, so I know what you need from us though, beyond that is this project activity. I mean, ultimately, you need from us that here's things that we'd like to pursue. Yeah, and yeah, I know we're a bit over all over the map on this. I had a lot of good ideas getting thrown out here, programming versus tangible investments.
Why, if I may, why don't
Please.
I clean up the list and add what you guys
Okay.
put today, and then I'll send it to you, and why don't you do, now, forgive me, whoever said it, why don't you guys categorize?
Do some rank choice.
Yeah, just
vote.
give me
Yeah,
your
right.
top three, if that's
That sounds good.
okay.
That sounds
And then I'll bring that back to our next meeting, or we
good. Okay.
can you know,
You can
that
send
way.
it, we can provide you our input too.
Yeah.
And remember, as I don't remember every time I do this, we can't, so if you send us
Yeah,
something, we
you can't discuss
we
over.
can't start talking about it in
Herding
email.
kittens.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I
herding
know,
kittens, it's okay.
I'm
Like,
guilty of this all
okay.
the time.
Outside.
And
But
I
just,
ha-
you can just respond.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have
I'll
to-
email
I
it to
have
you
to be
individually
reined
if
in.
you'd like, but,
Got it.
just, give me your
Okay.
top.
All right, so
5, I guess.
we're quickly running out of some time here because we have another discussion here in about 5 minutes. So let's look at the rest of the agenda. We had the TIF update, the liquor license, and the normal reports. We can read the reports. I don't know if there's anything hot to trot there. Is there, can you quickly go through the TIF and liquor license thing for
Yep.
us? And then maybe we can,
So
follow
we've
the
got,
day then.
the holdup on the DDA TIF is the 9-member
Right.
advisory council of residents. I've got 8. So yeah, it's good. So I have an email to Attorney Schmidt. Just, I'm gonna meet with her and just see if I can't get 9, like, what do we do? Like, I can't force another
Right.
person on here.
That's right.
So that is progressing. I emailed her over the weekend to see where we're at or what we do from there. So more to come with the
Okay.
TIF. I'm gonna
All right.
try to I need to pivot a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, I'm always gonna do parking, but I need to pivot a little bit to this now too.
Well, yeah,
so.
it sometimes life goes on, right? But
Yeah,
easy
yeah,
to
I
s-
mean, we can
easy
do-
to say, hard to do, right?
Okay.
I mean, I get it. I know.
And then the DDA liquor license, same thing. I just have not had time to explore it. Andrew sent me some great information that I read over the weekend. I've got 3 businesses that are interested
Sure,
in the
sure.
redevelopment liquor license. So that also, the TIF and the liquor license are going to become priorities.
So just on this particular issue, Andrew, as I understand this, we need the city commission to approve something or to authorize this process or help us out real quickly.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So because there is a downtown development authority, the city can choose to adopt a policy to offer DDA redevelopment liquor licenses. Those still have to flow through all the normal processes that you do with MLCC, the Liquor Control Commission.
Yep.
Background checks, all these other things. There's a few thresholds you have to meet with regards to
Activity in the DDA.
the investment that's
right.
happened in the DDA,
Right.
the size of the business, the number of seats, the hours it operates, et cetera.
Yep.
City commission literally just has to adopt a policy and say, we support offering these. At that point, they can be applied for. You still get to look at each business as it comes through. And they come at a $20,000 price tag.
Right.
They
Versus,
stay with the site. They
Yep.
cannot be moved or
Right.
sold somewhere else.
Yep.
So that's why they have less value and they're easier to get than
yes.
one on the open market, which might be $100,000.
So,
Ben Arbor just adopted a policy.
Yep.
It's real easy. It
Yep.
can be done in one meeting.
got you. And it's a, there is
I
a
believe
kind of
it's
a
called the bistro license, isn't it?
Redevelopment license.
redevelopment. It's
Oh,
for the
I'm,
deed.
well, I
It's
meant
physical.
where it's with that business. If the business goes away, the license goes away.
Yeah,
It's non-transferable.
this is just specific to the DDA. though.
It's
That's the-
specific to the address. So.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's say Meredith applied for one and got one for her wine shop, and someday she wants to open a wine bar somewhere else. She can't take that liquor license
Correct.
with her.
That's
Correct.
Someone else could open a
But
shop
somebody
in
else
her location.
They could buy the liquor license from her, but it has to stay at our.
They would
address.
still be subject to review from the MLCC.
Yes,
Always,
yeah. Oh,
always,
yeah. it's
always.
still-
You're
But
always
it's not
subject
like
to
they go into
review. Yeah.
escrow and then
Right.
get sold on the open
Right,
market.
yeah, no, you can't do that.
Is the,
Okay,
that's a big
It-
difference.
All right, thanks.
It's a great tool. We
It
need
is.
to
Yes.
encourage
Yeah,
the
no, it's
commission to
great.
do it.
They're
So Andrew, just real quick on this, is there a canned,
The hotel.
I think you sent us a bunch of material on it. So there's like a canned thing that we could work with the commission on.
I mean,
Okay, all right.
it's super easy. There's
Yeah.
literally a resolution on the MLCC website where you like fill in a few blanks.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
We should do that soon.
yeah, so I mean, I think the GDA board already kind of made a recommendation previously, so it's just a matter of finding, when the right time.
Yep.
Wants it on the agenda.
Yep, yep.
So we don't have to do any, the city just has to put it on their agenda.
They have to, it's a process that has to be approved by them.
Right,
That's
yep.
right.
Well, quick add too, that there's some discretion in how you set up your review process. The DDA could be the review body for that. Still has to ultimately go through commission.
Right.
You could cut out one step and just have commission or a committee review it or whatever, so.
Yeah, the urgency is the library hotel is gonna probably
Yeah.
fall under this classification, so,
They're not in the DDA.
yeah, they are.
Oh, that-
library is?
No,
Uh,
The
Allegretti
hotel, the
building.
Allegretti.
are.
I thought they weren't in the PK.
no, they are.
Hold on, hold on.
The parking.
Okay, anything, Kelly, anything in your monthly reports that, you're just dying to tell us about? That we can't live without if we don't hear?
Yeah, just a couple things. Full of Crepe is super close to opening according to Facebook this morning. The crepe shop.
Oh, the
I'm
crepe
I know
shop.
they're waiting on
being very careful
inspections.
how I say that. Great
Good.
name. There is
I'm
also
looking forward to that.
2 more potential restaurants opening. I'm keeping mum on that currently, but that's
Wow.
Which
super
location?
exciting downtown.
Well, if
I
she,
just like messing with them. I'm not even gonna say where downtown,
Really?
just because I was asked, they reached out and I mean,
I got you.
I know, sorry.
very exciting.
Until we've got
They'll
some,
say when they're ready.
they will say when they're ready, but yeah. The initiatives tracker wayfinding, just so you know, they are in fabrication. I'm super excited. You're gonna start seeing some progress on that. MDOT, we're super close to our MDOT permit. We had to get a maintenance agreement with them saying
All right.
we will maintain our own signs,
All
but
right.
it's a process.
Yep.
So that's in the works. And then they should be starting to get painted, I believe, end of last week or beginning of this week. I've been talking with Roger, the project communicator from
Oh,
Fairmont,
Cool.
and he's keeping me updated. So foundations will start to go in soon.
Very
So
exciting.
yeah, we're hoping, by the 4th of July.
Can we
I know
take a lot of
it's-
credit for these?
Heck
Yes, we
yeah.
take all the
Well,
credit.
well, because
We
like
take all the
Monday
credit.
night at the meeting, Greg from the Parks Board got up and showed this. Cause I looked at the whole packet. There was all kinds of cool slides about Paddlers Park and he got up and he was like, blah, 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 and he showed one picture and I'm like, dude, that's a huge, yay, us, City of St. Joe. You gotta scream about the
Yeah,
good
right,
stuff.
right.
We don't toot our own horn enough. Cause
All
it's a
right.
super cool project that somebody else is paying for.
I think it's a great project.
They're gonna be noticed because they're big and they're pretty.
I know, but
So
if everyone could know that the DDA did more than just.
Does it
parking.
really matter who gets the credit?
It does.
Yes.
Well,
We're getting a lot of hate right
Can I get
now.
a?
All in favor?
send a press release to the HP, they generally, whatever you send them, they're gonna
Right, they'll just print
publish.
it.
So
But,
All right.
but lead with the DDA.
Can I get a motion to
How,
disband this group?
how, can we just, I just have a
Disband?
question
Yeah,
about
sure,
the,
sure. Please.
the bank. It's on here, it's called Chemical Bank. We don't appear to be tracking it,
What-
right? It's,
Oh, I forgot.
that building is, I
Oh.
think was just sold.
what bank you talking about?
The one with
The
the
drive-
300.
drive-through.
The one with the
Drive-through,
The silos.
Main and Pleasant.
silos, yeah.
Silos, yes.
Yes, we have purchased it.
Oh, you purchased it?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Should we put it on here? Or are you trying to stay under the radar?
No, I don't care. You put it on
Do you know the address on that?
300 Main.
Well, that's interesting. Well, you know what? Let's adjourn and.
Ah, right, okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thanks for your time. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Do we need a
We
motion?
appreciate it. Anytime, you're welcome anytime.
Oh, is a motion required to adjourn?
No, I don't think so.
I
You have
I
it.
always,
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
You got it.
Who's gonna?
I
I don't know if it
made
was
the
an
motion
aye
and
or I'm
Deb
just making noise when I
seconded.
stand up now.
Thank
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just wanted to be right across
Mike's
from you
on.
guys.
What, I mean, plans?
Yeah, we got some plans. So
Okay.
I just sort of,